that I took a while to get back to you guys, but I took a nap because I will be doing readings. I did say that 25 for 25, and I'll be doing it until 5 a.m. I took a nap, a long nap, and took care of a lot of administrative work. I usually stay up this late. I usually stay up and I sleep until noon. That's my schedule. So now you get to see. And that way I get that because I was gonna do it on Christmas for the specials, but I can't do it because that scam going around. So I gotta find out what the FBI is gonna tell me to do and how to proceed with that to catch him. In the meantime, they've advised that any specials that I do for Christmas and New Year to do it now and not do it towards later on in the holidays. That way you know that I'm not putting any specials on holidays because that's when they attack. They did it on Thanksgiving. So we're gonna do the readings now until the 17th because that's when I have my surgery. Alrighty, uh, we're going to go back to Virgo. To have Virgo in the ascendant or Virgo sun, and I was dealing that we have Sagittarius and Aquarius, Capricorn. They have, I believe it's in the third house. I believe it's in the third house. Let me look at my. Let me go here and check just to make sure. Usually, when it goes below the wheel, you have a lot of cusps not beginning exactly in the houses, a few degrees off or on, depending, and also by the cusp between the house and the other house or intercepted signs. Occurs usually more below the wheel of the birth chart. Let us look at, see what it is. Where are we? Where are we? Where are we? Gee, of all days, it's not here. But that's just to make it a little bit more complicated than it should be. I don't see it here. All right, I'm gonna have to do this by hand. Virgo, Pisces, Aquarius, Capricorn. It's the fourth house. The fourth house. Between the fourth house and the tail end of the third, fourth, or the tail end of the 12th house onto the ascendant with Virgo here. So it may be intersected houses because of the in-between cusps. And that occurs again when the sun begins to descend at the lower part of the wheel. And that has a lot to do with the terrain of the globe itself. And it's not a perfect circle, it's an egg shape. Those variances are going to show up mathematically in these coordinates. And that affects the right ascension and how we measure the constellations by degrees, minutes, and seconds of arc. Now, to have Sagittarius in the fourth house with this eclipse, with the new moon also in Sagittarius at 12 degrees, means that there has been sorrow in the home front, particularly the mother, because the fourth house rules the matriarch and the mother. Uh, with Sagittarius here, which deals with the mind, and we know if you read a lot of my entries on the peoplesastrology.com or other websites, the Sagittarius Gemini axis rules neurological disorders, nervous disorders, and also psychosis, states of psychosis, and nervous induced psychotic episodes, which is different from being a psychotic. Though, and other types of nerve ganglion, cognitive or receptive disorders. So to have Sagittarius here opposing the midheaven means that there may have been some mental illness in the family or a nervous breakdown. The person needs to be careful with their nerves. There might have been a lot of abuse, dogmatic indoctrination by one of the parents, Sagittarius, at the 12th degree of sorrow. Maybe they instilled the letter of the law too harshly, causing abuse. The indoctrination was rigid, non-flexible. Let's say you might be gay, and you're living in a religious family of the dogmatic views where gays are to be killed or treated as second class. You know, that old mentality. So you could be facing parents that still have that mentality, and you are being born in the Aquarian age and a free liver, free thinker, free sex. You know, Aquarius is the age of androgyny. Men sleeping with men and women sleeping with women will be very, very common. There will be no stigma or shame attached to it, like in the Piscean age. And also trans will be taking the stage. Trans and cross-dressing and all that is Aquarius, eccentric, strange, and unusual. And homosexuality or homosexual behavior falls in that category. So there's going to that's so if you still got parents that have old rigid views from my generation, there's going to be a clash, and a final resolution has to be made between the dogmatic views of your parents instilling upon you since birth, or strongly since 9 years earlier, or you are going to have to break away completely and quickly and just do an about face and completely walk away from that philosophy, never to look back again. It's a major cycle because it's a closure that is going to spring positive things going in a positive direction. And what's catching astrologers by storm is that this is going to happen very, very fast. Very, very fast. I'm beginning to feel it myself. I'm feeling it. I have it in the fourth house, and I feel it completely. The fourth house is also the foundation. That could mean a business, a home business. I do my business at home, and I'm under attack with everything going on. And the person who's doing it is a Sag, the scam. Remember, there's a connection there. It's a connection there. It's the guy that's doing it is a Sag, and I have this painful stuff going on, even from my childhood, inside and in the fourth house, at the 12th degree. Remember, most of my planets are in the 12th house, and I'm a Virgo. So I'm definitely feeling it. I'm feeling the tension, but I'm also feeling a surge of excitement that even I can't explain. And I'm like, almost 1 o'clock in the morning. But so I'm going to take advantage of this energy and give it to you by doing the readings. Okay, so there is something in the home front psychologically, or it can also be something as simple as you might need to move from where you're living. Maybe living there no longer serves you. You outgrew the community, you outgrew people. You probably literally have outgrown your apartment with a lot of stuff you've accumulated. It's time maybe to get stuff out of the way, get it out, throw it out. Be very careful because Sagittarius, along with Cancer, is the sign of the hoarder. And there have been many, many charts of hoarders that have Cancer afflicted or the fourth house afflicted, and Sagittarius usually also afflicted or in the fourth house. So there may be emotional trauma in which now you have to substitute the emotional pain, which creates a void, to then replace it with something that can give you some kind of emotional sensation. Because when there's emotional trauma and blockages, not only does it block out the bad emotions, it also blocks out the good ones. That's why hoarders buy stuff to give themselves instant gratification of mental stimulation, but it dies right away. I just have to do more. And that's the psychological pathology behind hoardism, hoarder, emotional trauma. So this could be happening in your home, or you may come from that, and there has to be a final closure on this and resolve it, and then move on into the next direction as we are preparing for the incoming cycle. Virgo. Oh, another situation can be your past life. You might be having a tough time in this incarnation, and you look for answers, and you're not getting the answers. Sagittarius, you're looking outside of yourself for answers to liberate you from some kind of haunting karma that comes from other lifetimes that you don't even have any business knowing or can't even know. And then Sagittarius, remember, that's the other side. You'll be answered with the faith that it will be healed. So there may be some past life karma that needs healing in this life, or you're going to get a pass and it will be obliterated. And you can go scot-free. Jupiter, the benefactor. Remember, Jupiter gives benefits whether you deserve it or not. It's Saturn that decides who gets it. Jupiter gives it. And Saturn goes, wait a minute. Really? You want to give him this? We don't deserve it. Really? Well, no. I'm not going to give it to you. I rule time. I can't stop the gift from you, but I can stop the time that he gets it because I rule time. There you go. Saturn intercedes. The devil. That's how it works between Saturn and Jupiter. So he gives all the goods and goodies. So this time, because of the powerful trine, even Saturn can't do nothing. You got to step back. Oh, I hear that. And turn around. He got here. I want to do but this is all Sag, Jupiter, the king of the god, you know. So this is a Zeus, as they call. So this is a great blessing. Maybe you've been praying for a long time and now you're getting the answer. No, that's very ecclesiastical on the part of Sagittarius. Okay, Libra. Cardinal air. Making a sextile aspect to Sagittarius. The sextile aspect, of course, means opportunity. Opportunity, Libra, to accept a philosophy free of patterns, free of a logic that's only familiar to you, and deeply and emotionally spiritual. How you like that, Libra? This is interesting even for you. Or we know why. But Libra, I'm going to be nice, you know, because I love Libra. My rising sign is Libra. I think I got in a bad rap for being a little hard on Libra. We need Libra to be impartial. Well, whether I like it or not, Libra has to be impartial. And that means being emotionally neutral. Yeah, there's no way around it. I'm trying to find a spin where maybe she or he can make an exception. But no, I know. I'd be pushing the envelope and they'd be like, what? No, because there's a reason why Libra, the scales, is an inanimate object. If you look at the rest of the zodiac, it's either animals or human. We have 3 humans. The twins, Gemini, the woman, Virgo, and hint at the esoteric ruler being the moon because the moon rules women. And the symbol for Virgo is the woman. And then we have Aquarius, the masculine air sign man with the urn, which represents Aquarius. The rest are animals. And we have one demiurge, which is not demiurge, but what kind of yes. And that's the half horse, half man, Sagittarius. Now we know we don't have no man looking like a horse below the waist, as an animal, the horse, or no. So it's a symbol for something, a transformation from animal to human. And then from human to God, which is why he's pointing the arrow upwards. That's the aim, to return back to God, to return to the essence that we came from before Jehovah or Saturn encapsulated us into carbon matter and gave form. And this is what's meant by demonic realm. Material matter is demonic because it does restrict the spirit. You have to die to release the spirit. Deep stuff. So these are things, Libra, that are deep, and it bypasses some of the intellectual meridians that you're so comfortable assessing. Here, you might not be able to have that resource within you to assess that because that will not function or work in trying to compartmentalize and figure out and categorize the philosophical intellect of Sagittarius. because part of it may be intellectual in the sense that there's a sense in a logical order. But the other part is that there's an emotional embedded feel to the philosophy which cannot be quantified or even measured, not least in words. And your words, Libra, is your tool, your language, brilliantly. But Sagittarius matches the same, but with the temperament of spirit, which is something you, Libra, I truly believe you know nothing about. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Again, Libra is not a human symbol, nor is it an animal symbol. It is an inanimate object. There is a reason why it was made this way, because of the emotional impartiality of Libra. But it seems to be what's necessary to arrive at logical, conclusive, measurable uh, answers to very complex questions that could be hampered by an emotional feel, which could cause bias. So I understand, and I salute you, Libra, for that. However, with this solar eclipse occurring with you in the third house, there is a pain here that you have with one of your siblings. The third house rules siblings, and it rules cousins, second cousins, aunts, second aunts, uncles, your neighbors. You might have a beef with your neighbor, and that needs to be healed. You may have had a learning disability or a learning situation when you were younger, and maybe made fun of because maybe you had a clip or you couldn't speak or you were dyslexic or something in your third house learning scholastic related that did not allow you to mature earlier or at the same pace as the other kids. It may be that you were spoken to harshly with emotional intensity, which is very, very nerve wracking for Libra. And that could have been the emotional atmosphere in the home or in the neighborhood. Maybe you grew up in a neighborhood that was infested with crime and violence. The 12th degree, the degree of sorrow. That's why I go negative, because it is a negative degree. Astrologers don't like to go into details about the degrees and how important they are to discuss. Honestly, honestly. So, and we have to do that honestly so that you are prepared and can connect to what it is. So that you can then take it both by the horn and then be empowered to change it or transform it. Okay? Libra, there can be also issues with maybe having to be more flexible in what you allow in mentally. Again, dealing with other people's philosophies and other people's ways of living, even religion, might not be the same as how you were raised with your own culture and country about what religion is. And there might need to be a revamping in this area. Maybe you didn't have enough money to finish college education, and you dropped out, and this hurt you deeply, since we know how much you love intellect. The third house, in schooling. Maybe there was an interruption, and maybe now you're getting the money together to go back and finish. It could be something that simple, or it could be far more complicated. Okay? With the South Node in Sagittarius, with Mars approaching on the 15th and entering in conjunction the South Node, with all of these alignments, makes a perfect hexatriad. And what that does is that it locks in an old cycle of 9 years. And in occult philosophy, the number 9 is completion. And we've had 9 solar eclipses in Sagittarius. This is the last one, then that's it. That if that doesn't complete a cycle, I don't know what does. It's so obvious and it's almost spooky how it plays out mathematically. So it seems like we have to get ready for whatever is going to jump off in the next couple of decades. We already know about that, right? The spaceships and things that go, because it's going to happen. And we have to be mentally ready. This could be a part of that. Sagittarius rules what's foreign. Extraterrestrials are foreign. No different than a race or another culture coming here that's foreign to us. No different. So these are we have to be prepared collectively for the shift that's already in full gear. And this is the reason that the cosmic is doing like a final sweep and closing for good. Any leftover remnants of the Piscean age, which just closed. Libra. So it's a lot to chew on. You see what's going on there. Okay? With the past life dynamic thrown in the mix, you might have a past life connection with one of your siblings, or a neighbor, or a friend. All that is third house Gemini, and the South Node is almost like Mercury retrograde. You're gonna get a reminder emotionally, which you will not be able to put into words, of someone that it feels like you know them, and you do, from past lives. That could be, it can manifest that way. Scorpio. Scorpio, you should be having some fun, Scorpio. Scorpio on the ascendant puts Sagittarius in the second house, which is the Taurus-Scorpio polarity axis, naturally. But with Scorpio on the ascendant, you have Sagittarius in the second house of self-esteem and self-worth, and your income potential, your earning income, and also how and what you spend your money on, and how much you're going to make in a lifetime. Well, I've done thousands of charts. Thousands of charts. I've been doing it since I was 16. And always, 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 when I meet someone with Scorpio rising, almost always, at some point in the life, there's a major crisis that could determine the life and death of the person with Scorpio on the ascendant. I can't tell you, even personal friends of mine who have had near-death brink, always, and it transforms them. It could happen with their children. It happened to anybody. It happened. I mean, it was Scorpio on the ascendant. That's some shit. But the crisis that occurs is not in consciousness, it's in action. Sagittarius. But it's interesting. Something has to be done. And if it's not done, something terrible happens. I'm 54 years old, and I tell you it happens all the time. With Scorpio on the ascendant and Sagittarius in the second house, and so forth and self-esteem, this is very interesting because Scorpio is so private. And their self-worth and self-esteem, well, who knows? Who knows? I think the hallmark for astrologers is that if someone comes to our office with Scorpio rising, 9 times, and regardless of what they tell you, remember, Scorpio ascendant is not going to flat out tell you what he's there for. He has to test you first and see if you're competent enough to understand his complexity. We're going to go to use anybody. Of all birth charts that I've done from 16 years old to 54, I can count in my hand how many have been Scorpios. And I'm going to tell you, in true honesty, less than 50. That is one sign that really doesn't seem to really need anybody. But it's extremely resourceful for others if they're brave enough to get close to Scorpio. But here's the thing. When there is a crisis, it could be a friend of mine has Scorpio rising, and he wasn't the nicest guy. He really wasn't the nicest guy. But he was a friend of mine for a long, long, long time. And we used to, we did theater together as well. And he would just got very mean and bitter. And I'm like, you know, you gotta get out of here. Come back when you have a better attitude. And I haven't heard from him for about 2 months. And then when I found out through another friend that he had cancer and almost died, I went to see him and he was unrecognizable. And he had an issue with self worth to begin with. And he got stuck there and never grew up from that, never got out of that. And at 50, he was still acting like a 30-year-old. It's one thing to be 50 and look 30. It's another thing to be 50 and act 30. It's silly. That's what he was. And he thought he was getting away with it because he was really cute. And he might have, and he did get away with a lot of it. But a lot of people, he could fool a lot of people. They thought he was young, but the universe pulled the wool from under his feet. Because and now he is attending wellness program. He's working on his self-esteem. He did some speeches, because he was lying to himself and everybody else, but the universe was watching exactly who he was. And then if he didn't want to change, and he was already in his 50s, the universe said, "Oh, look, either he changes or we're gonna pull him out." Okay, throw him a crisis, throw him a cancer, put the body in jeopardy, and maybe he'll awaken. And he did awake. It changed his life. I cannot tell you how many Scorpio ascendant this happens to, or an accident, something. Um, it's extremely complex. Obviously, if you find someone, or if you find yourself, if you're a Scorpio on the ascendant or the Scorpio sun, if you find yourself in a crisis now, then that means that the nature of the crisis has a lot to do with how you view yourself. And that crisis is trying to teach you something. Maybe it's trying to throw some serious shit at your way so that you can learn just how strong and resourceful you are from within. The transformation occurs from within, but it happens by powerful crises that occur from without. This is very classic of Scorpio and the Ascendant. And in the Sagittarius that people sleep on, that is extremely powerful and extremely painful transformation. It's immutable. All the mutable signs are points of psychological transformation. Scorpio is also a psychological transformation, but Scorpio is like the last resort. Here is not a choice to transform. You're being forced to transform. It's different when you have the opportunity to walk to the door than to put a gun in your head and be forced to walk to the door. That's Pluto. So there might be extremes of intensity that have caused all kinds of cause and effects along the way with Scorpio that now may come back to you in the form of existential crisis. Something happens over here, something happens over there, something happens over here. Like a soap opera, and everything bad happens to the good people. You know what I'm talking about. Yes, yes. So this position is extremely complex. Extremely complex. There might be rigid views that you might have about yourself that needs transforming. It's in the second house of Taurus. Even though the mutable sign Sag is there, the sign of Taurus, the second house field of vibration, connotes that you might want to hold on to outmoded views of these philosophies from wherever you got them from. And that needs now to be revamped. And we know you're not going to ask anybody for help. So this is for you to take this time to go inside and do an honest inventory of what has to be completed and what it needs to be done to make the mental shift. And quickly, Scorpio. Sagittarius, you are the star of this solar eclipse. You've been the star for 9 years. I know a couple of Sagittarians. My own brother, my older brother, who was born on December 17th, the day that I'm gonna have my surgery. And I'm planning a party for him. Um, I live in New Jersey. Um, Sagittarius You see, this is the thing. Sagittarius represents the number 9, which is the number of completion. But completion of what? Well, with good reason, completion of an intellectual acquisition. From 1 through 9, the concept of ebb and flow, beginning and the end, the alpha and the omega, is expressed. All of that. From 0 to 9, and then from 9 back to 0. So 9 represents also the alpha and the omega. Number 1 is omega, number 9 is the alpha. Or number 9 is omega, and number 1 is the alpha. They bite the tail like the circle of infinity. And it makes a completion. This is why Sagittarians truly feel in their heart that they are smarter than everybody else, or that they got all the answers. They do feel that way because they represent the number 9. Completion. Zeus, the king of the gods, the highest level of intellectual attainment occurs in Sagittarius. But let me tell you how that is also a deception. And this is the fierce part. Okay, I need to get the board. Sagittarius is the star. Okay. All right. Uh-huh. 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 Might be too. I don't know if it's too far. It's right. Okay. You have let me move it further back because it might be too close. I can't really see myself. So I just put it over here. I don't know if that's a little better. I hope it is. Okay, here we have Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Milongo, don't start. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. From 1 to 9, we're born here and we die here. And from 2 to 8, circle of infinity, is where we experience. We are not here to be happy. We are here to experience. Once we are done with experience, we check out. Now, we can apply this, though, to events like this Sagittarian solar eclipse. What's going on here is, for example, we can apply this to civilizations. Let's start with Sumer, right? let's say the Anunnaki came and they jump started civilization. Let's say that. And then civilization kept going, 3, 4. Each number represents different aspects of civilization. 8, 9, 8, 9. When we reach 9, here was the birth of civilization. And here is the destruction of civilization. And what happens over here in the middle is experience of that civilization, which archaeologists, historians, anthropologists later excavate and put in museums and stuff. Experience of a particular age or epoch. Experience. Now let me show you mathematically how this relates to the destruction of a civilization, a race, or even a planet. This is a type of intellect that is typical of Sagittarius, because it's coupled with humanism, the humanities, which deals with the more feeling aspect of intellect. Here we have, is this black? Okay, here we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Destruction. Okay. So here, let's put the moon, right? Since this is destruction, then this side here is black. This is called the first quarter of the moon. And this quarter is the quarter of destruction. That's why in deluges or in catastrophes of different ages, the moon is always the omen that warns of what's coming. Now over here, you have the light, which is the light of the full moon. Here we have a new beginning. Here is number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And here we go. The beginning of civilization, number 1. Number 9, the destruction, going back to the first quarter phase of the moon. This is a lock and key equation. That's how we know that what the Anunnaki did in Sumer was not unique. It has been happening. It's happened every time a civilization is destroyed by the age, and then a new age emerges with a new continent or a new heaven and earth, and it begins all over again, all over again, all over again. Nothing is new under the sun. Life occurs in cycles of beginning, then experience in the middle, and then the end by destruction. And the destruction of the age occurs per epoch. When an age ends, usually the epoch ends with it. But we still have a few more to go before we finish with the Earth period. So, and that big destruction is not going to happen anytime soon. The age has ended, not the epoch. So this is the type of philosophy that is in Sagittarius. He knows this. He don't know why he knows it. He don't know how he knows it. But it's spiritual. Even he or she cannot explain it. Libra, this is what you are now going to learn to incorporate into your belief system. An extra tool, which is the emotional imprint of words and feelings and intellect. So Sagittarius, you are beginning a new cycle. And unlike the rest of us, you can call the shots. I can't say anything about Sagittarius. You can do anything you want, start anything you want. You are 1 through 9. No one needs to tell you what to do or suggest to you what to do. You have it all inside. And I'm being serious. I'm not being facetious. And this is why you feel that you're so deeply knowledgeable, which you are. But here is the difference between Sagittarius Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. Let's go back to the board for 1 second. You want to know why Sagittarius believe that they're so smart and they know everything about everything about everything? And this is something that they don't say openly, but they feel it. And I have a brother who's a Sagittarius, and let me tell you, oh my God, the battles him and I have we used to have. Imagine being two Virgo twins and a Sagittarian. 6 and 9, multiples of 3. 3 plus 3 is 6 plus 3 is 9. We used to have, ooh, let me not even go there. Okay. This is why Sagittarius is so bent on believing and feeling, not just believing, feeling that he knows all the answers. In a way, he does. In a way. And in a way, he doesn't. And I will explain it here. Very simple. It won't be a second. What did I say Sagittarius is? It's philosophy of life. Philosophy of life. Where does life take place? On Earth. Sagittarius is mutable fire. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Ascendant. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Here we see again the crescent of the moon. And he knows knowledge from east to west, from north to south. He's the Don Juan, the galloping horse that goes from place to 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 place, learning, absorbing, and having knowledge. That's why he's so intelligent. But the knowledge that he has is only of Earth. Above 9, where it's cosmic, begins Aquarius, which is higher in intellect. And Capricorn, the initiation to get to Aquarius. There you go. And then everything falls apart and goes back to 0 in Pisces. Okay? All right? This is why Sagittarius is so fucking intelligent and they believe that they are. Because they are. Because they know everything about planet Earth and all of his experiences. That's why he's wealthy, gallant, well-dressed, and Don Juan. And he has time to just be a flirt and a whore and go around sweating his stuff. Because he's already done the work. He's completed the whole paradigm from 0 to 9. And he feels this. He feels it. And that's where the arrogance comes from. To you, if you didn't know. I hope I explained that okay. All right? Okay, everybody, let me take a 1-minute break to go to the little boy's room. Uh-huh. All right. Okay. Capricorn. Capricorn, the sign of initiation, cardinal, Earth. The ruler, Saturn, the devil, Jehovah. We are reaching the highest epitome of earthly power and success. Capricorn is the final destination for those of you who are interested in the material life, the good life, the money, the wealth, and being a member of the elite and the perfect bloodlines, then Capricorn is the path for you. You are not interested in leaving this plane anytime soon. The party's just getting started. So here we see absolute freedom. And with absolute freedom comes absolute power. The point north. Capricorn is complex because there are types and subtypes. And it's not the same case in other signs. I've done videos on Virgo type 1, type 2, type 3, type 4, Pisces type 1, 2, 3, of both men and the women. But that's not true of all of them. That's why I didn't do them all. Because there wasn't. Only a few of them have subtypes and types. And I did those videos already. With Capricorn, we have two meridians, actually. Because one is centered on the mundane, and the other is centered on the spiritual. Like I mentioned before in the esoteric series, the Capricorn is deeply spiritual. And that's one side of esoteric Capricorn that is hardly spoken about. We are familiar with the mundane definition of Capricorn, which defines earthly success and power and, the drama, the soap opera that comes with power and wealth and access and privilege. If that's the path, God bless you. You're a member of the elite and you need nobody because you have the power of money, influence, and status to dominate everything and everyone around you, Capricorn. It's your biggest dream. And it's impossible not to be met with respect and honor to have gotten this far. So, let me talk to that Capricorn for a minute. With the Sagittarius, solar eclipse, conjunction, new moon, with Mars entering the 12th house, where Sagittarius is, approaching the 12th degree, means that you are going to go through a crisis in consciousness. The 12th house rules the subconscious and the psychology, not just of this life, but of multiple lifetimes, and the accumulation of baggage from other lifetimes that you have yet to balance, to bring to balance. So this eclipse here in the 12th house may cause you to go into a crisis that will threaten your life. I just said the crisis in Sagittarius is deeply painful, and it can bring you to that brink in order for you to learn spiritual lessons that are going to liberate you and make you far more greater than what you think you already are with all your money and success and power and influence. And this may be directed to the elite, the very wealthy of Capricorns. Because, when you reach that level, what else is there to conquer? If you're not wealthy, you won't understand that. And if you are wealthy, you understand the anxiety of staying wealthy and the fear of losing it. Because then if you lose that collateral, what other collateral stronger than monetary wealth substitute that? Well, there is real estate. If, like Donald Trump, the genius of Donald Trump is that he was wealthy, by all intents and purposes, he was the same way he proclaimed that he's wealthy. He has real estate. I've been to countries where I've seen his hotels. Here in the United States, in Nevada, that's where a hotel. I went in. Pure gold, pure gold. It probably isn't gold. It probably isn't very similar to gold. But it was done exactly where the sun rises in Phoenix, in Las Vegas. Oh my God, that's spectacular, beautiful. Donald Trump don't got no money, but in a sense he does, because all those properties, even though they were held by the bank and shareholders, the principal agent is still Donald Trump. He can go anywhere and spend money like a millionaire, and people will allow him because he has tangible assets associated with his name. It doesn't matter that he has access to it or that he can liquefy these tangible assets into money, whether he can or not. The point here is that because he has attributed to his name, that makes him wealthy. He can take out loans anywhere. I can do that myself with the LLC, which is worth now $18.5 million if I was to sell it, because I have over 50,000 subscribers. And that's the equation that's used to evaluate the monetary worth of a company. So wealth is a relative term, but relative or not, if you are associated with that word wealth or millionaire, it does affect everything around you, and people look at you differently. Now you are a force to reckon with. In total silence, not having to say anything. This is what Capricorns dream of, that type of absolute power and mastery of the material world, including others. When you master yourself, you can master others and control others. This is where the fine line where it can get sadistic. And all dictators and presidents and monarchs have to face that threshold. And you can't compromise when you have that much power. Too much power to compromise. You have to choose a corner. It's deep. It's deep. So you might have a crisis in which sooner or later you know you're going to die. What are you going to do? Are you going to create a trust, a foundation to lead to your descendants? Have you put that in order? Or have you yet to accept that one day you'll die and this needs to be in place? Those kinds of things can happen. Legacies, doing wills. Sagittarius is, remember, that's the ninth. Now we're getting closer. We're getting closer. So there might be a sense of anxiety, fear, and panic that can suddenly strike Capricorn, especially the wealthy ones that got their money through. So your conscience could be knocking at your door. Hello, remember us? You remember us? You killed us and left us for dead in 1955. I don't know, 57. Don't tell me that. Yes, you got away with it. Well, we're here now, in your deathbed. You thought you got rid of us. We can't wait till you leave that body. We're going to get you. You can have horrible dreams, nightmares, and guilt complexes of things like that. Well, now, what you've done, and if you've lived a wicked life, now it's time for the tribunal in that sense. But at the same time, there is also a means for redemption. The movie Shawshank Redemption, what do you think that was about? Here we see the same situation. And it's interesting because the big guy was in jail, which is a 12th house theme. So that movie, the Green Mile, you should watch it on Shawshank Redemption. That Green Mile and the Shawshank Redemption, both of them fit this description that I'm discussing. Capricorn. Now, you might have to change the way you believe things. Maybe the way you believe affected people's lives in a very bad way. Now you might need to make a change of your ideology. To have this in the 12th house, meaning that your ideology you keep it hidden in secret, but behave with it. And you become so used to it, it become part of you. Now you might need to chisel that away as we enter a new age. Well, a new thinking and a new perspective will be required. The world that we know now is not going to be the world that we're going to see tomorrow. So this is a transition mentally that has to occur, so you don't get stuck in an old age past while you're still living. So these are, and as we get older, we gotta stay plugged into the young people, to society, and stay relevant. You might be called to step out of your secret hiding place, Capricorn, and engage in open society. And with all that money and stuff that you've accumulated, do something of a charitable, non-profit type nature. That's the old model. Maybe you could do something different and new and innovative. Many of you were born with Neptune and Uranus in Capricorn. So you guys have the intellectual and creative genius to try the old stuff in a new, innovative way. And that could be your calling, Capricorn. But let go of the rigid views, and whatever pain you suffered in the 12th house, again, the 12th degree, the 12th house, has to be transcended. I hope at a certain age it should be. Okay, Capricorn. And now I'm going to go to the Capricorn of the esoteric spiritual type. If this is you, if you're this type of Capricorn, this type of eclipse, again happening in your 12th house, can inspire you to do two things. Either become a preacher or minister, or open a ministry for young people, or open a shelter or a halfway house, or a temple where people can go and do meditations and burn incense. If you got the money, and I'm sure you do at this age, you can build something like that, or create something like that. Something that can spiritually begin to heal society, Capricorn, which you benefited from all these years. Now, are you going to give back, Capricorn? And the esoteric too, it's still the devil. And there is no taming the devil. But putting this money and your resources and influence in this direction can make you far more famous than you probably thought. It's a risk. And Sagittarius is the risk taker. But with Jupiter on his side, how could Sagittarius lose? And the 12th house is Pisces. And remember, the classical co-ruler of Pisces was Jupiter, Sagittarius. So if you have a friend in the 12th house, it may give you insight that you can use not only to better yourself, but to also uplift those around you. With the solar eclipse occurring here in the 12th house, there may be something from your past lives that will be revealed to you that is making sense as to why you were living the life in this one the way you did. Maybe it didn't make sense to you, but a past life revelation of what was and how the cycle began might be enough to liberate you mentally, allowing you to close the chapter and move on forward. So this transformation is deeply psychological, but it can be used to effectuate a purpose that can still have you looking like the great man that you already are and that you know that you are, or woman. Capricorn. So with the 12th degree here, anything could have happened. Sexual molestation, rape, all the dark ones, taboos, all that stuff. And there could have been illness, but then again, or mental illness too. Sagittarius doesn't fall far behind from that. It rules the neurological axis of the 3rd and the 9th house. So that's something that has to be looked at with the 12th degree of sorrow there, right? The 12th house is also a house of creativity. Maybe you've been working too hard and too seriously, and now you need to kick it, relax. Take art, or take sculpturing, or take painting. Those are 12th house activities. Go and have a nice spa with mud and pamper yourself. Or go to a movie. Or just take a stroll and smell the flowers and the roses and enjoy the freedom that wealth has finally brought you that you've always wanted. And it can also make you so much more relevant when you put the money, because we can't take it with us, and dispense it. The more you give your money away, the more it comes back to you. You understand? That's what you guys to donate. It's a currency. It's an energy exchange. Doesn't matter how it's used. That's a blessing because of the knowledge. And that's how you keep money. When you give it away, it comes back to you. I'm telling you. And I'm going to make a special video for those who've been donating. And I'm gonna, cause some of the names are from overseas, so I'm gonna be writing the names down and then giving you a shout out. I'll do that tomorrow. Um, Aquarius. Aquarius. You're right at home with what's happening, and you've been known. To have Aquarius and the ascendant means that you have Sagittarius in the third house. With Sagittarius, with Aquarius and the ascendant or the sun sign, with this eclipse occurring with a conjunction at in the third house of communication, the communication that you might be conveying to the public because of Aquarius being on the ascendant might be that of cosmic knowledge. Sagittarius was cosmic knowledge, and so does Aquarius. And the third house, which belongs to Gemini, has dispensable available knowledge. So cosmic knowledge that's dispensable and available is what you should be focusing on with this for the next couple of years to come. If you are involved in communication or the information age, and you have a blog or a website, and you should think about talking or having a YouTube channel or something that deals with technology or television, or develop an app or going to podcasting. Very, very lucrative and very good. And speak. You are a blowhorn now, Aquarius. Interesting. The only problem here with the 12th degree Sagittarius in the third house is that you might have an issue expressing your emotions interpersonally, or when it comes to interpersonal concerns, interpersonal matters. You might be awkward, might feel awkward, and might not be that good here. The compensation for this deficiency is your brilliant mind and organization to convey thoughts and ideas of a spiritual cosmic nature, which is symbolized by Sagittarius. So you may have the fluency to speak to a large group of people, or be awkward and be uncomfortable in speaking in public and be a one-on-one only. If that's the case, you might need to get out of that and start moving into a higher platform where there's exposure to more people. Because the more people know what you're giving, the more it's appreciated. And the more value you get in return, and in knowing that you've done something that can affect the whole community, a whole group of people. The problem may be that you are afraid to speak for being judged, or you are shy to the point where you fall apart if you're in front of a public. So it could be that needs to be transformed. Or you're in the background getting knowledge but not dispensing it. And that could be just as much a crime as if telling lies, Aquarius. So you may be called to order to play a more significant role than what you've been playing. Because you also, like the Capricorn mundane that I described, might have been hiding in the background. Where now they're going to be pushed in the front because your services are needed. We need Capricorn's money, and we need, Aquarius, your knowledge. And make something happen. Some homogeneity happen. Okay? There are many cosmic truths that you can no longer sit on, but you have to speak. Aquarius. It's time to step out of the background. You've been hiding. Don't think we didn't take notice. and go out there and spread your godity. This is your chance now to express the fact that you are God in human form. The God complex that everybody accuses you of being, Aquarius. Show them wrong. Show them the power of your intellect and show them your godity. I do. You should too. And don't be afraid. And have fun with it. Sagittarius is fun. Have fun with it. You have to, because with that 12th degree, you might have to simulate it anyway. Because some of these things can be painful topics. It might be painful. We're dealing with Sag, so they are going to be painful. And nothing will replace it for the moment. It's an experience that you have to go through if this is speaking to you. You might need to make amends with a sibling or a cousin or some extended family member. Or maybe you are rejected by your own neighborhood. The third house is the neighborhood, the community. And maybe you're an outcast. And maybe you need to get out of that outcast role and claim your space within your own society. Just because you're different doesn't mean that you're not a member of society. You're a member of society like everybody else. And now it's time to claim your space, Mr. Aquarius. Pisces. This is the 12th house, which means that you have Sagittarius on the ascendant. No. You have what's your name? In the 10th house. Yes. Well, Pisces, you are a transformer. And this eclipse occurring in your 12 in the 10th house is rather it could be 10th house, 9th house. Again, this is one of those interpolations with interceptor signs and houses. Here you are a transformer. It's interesting because I don't really see you in the background. And even if you were, with this eclipse occurring in the 10th house of the open public, like the 7th house, there's another house of open public, and the 3rd house, you are going to be forced into the public spotlight. People are going to notice you. You are going to be pulling attention, whether you like it or not. This is the 10th house. So if you are young and you are reaching your prime, now is your time to show your stuff, what you're made of, what you're here to bring. If you're past age 30 and you're in one of those phases where now you are reinventing yourself, then now this is the time where you can now, whatever it is that you're working on, bring it out and talk to people, show people, network, give people the head start. So when it really jumps off, you have an audience base in which to draw from. These are the planning stages. The 10th house is very Capricornish, and you'll be better off planning ahead these next 2.5 years to 4 years. Especially if you are involved in a career. If you are not, then this position will demand that you be proficient in organization. Be the consummate organizer at home or develop a business at home, kind of like the 4th house, because they're the same axis, they're related. You might have to form allegiances with men if you're a woman. If you're a man, yes, you still have to form allegiances with other men that can help you and give you access. For example, the councilmen or political elected officials, aldermen. You have to make connections with the pillars of society that can be the ones in power to open doors for you. It's a time now to take the opportunity to step out. And that's something that you don't really like to do, Pisces. That's the sorrow, 12th degree, Sagittarius. And there are private reasons why you don't, Pisces. Both the man and the woman. The problem is that these reasons could be legitimate or they might not be legitimate. You might be fooling yourself in thinking that they're not legitimate because you're afraid to actually walk the plank. And if that's the case, then the universe has something in store for you. So this is one of those places where you do have to step out and actually do something that's going to benefit people in a substantial way. If you haven't already done it, then you have to. And quickly take on the attitude that this is what has to be done in order for the next 4 or 5 years to be a more graceful, predictable, and therefore manageable cycle, Pisces. You might have to make amends with your father or a father figure. The 12th degree of sorrow in the 10th house calls attention to the father figure, and men in particular, and men that may model after your father. You might attract men that have issues or drug problems similar to that of your father or some other male in the family. And there may be an irreconcilable different attitude or an estrangement from the mother at the opposing of the fourth house. So there might be unfinished business emotionally that you need clarification from your parents or the father in particular that is mimicking or mirroring the men in your life that now you will encounter your father in them. And if these issues have not been resolved, you will continue to attract daddy to you instead of a man that shows the aspects that are positive of daddy instead of the negative. And that's it. Thank you guys. I'm going to take a look at some of you who are here. Any questions? All right, and then we're going to do the 25 for 25 readings until 5 o'clock. And I'll see what I can do. And for those of you who need the reading, we can do it online. Let's see. Whoa, here we go. Do I have Mr. Magoo? Where's Mr. Magoo? Oh, boy. Oh, okay. Let's go get it. Okay. All right. Okay, let me say hello to anyone who's here. Myra, Bruce Lee was anything but arrogant as he evolved. Right. Bunny, how are you? Queen of Sasha speaks. How are you, Sasha? That's right, Ella Kuje. KD. Queen Bee Bunny, in my opinion, it gets very intense. Often there exists inner and outer reality that breaks the camel's back. Uncle, I hope millennials invest alongside Generation X, then it multiplies enormously. Yes, I hope so too. If they can get past their anger, absolutely. Well, that's what we're here. No PayPal. Okay, love you, bye. Yeah, we are with Bank of America, which is Zelly, and they won't take anything else. That's Bank of America. It's crazy. Alrighty, and use my name. How are you? And who's? Oops. Oh, I see. This is really, really weird. This chat thing moves up and down, and when I'm trying to get all of you, it moves the other way. So I can get everybody's name. I have here Jason Tulsa, beloved. Thank you for coming. Okay. Sky Astrology. Okay, only a few of you. That's good. Okay. And if you got any questions, does it affect the generation or the chart or the charts? Both. What this whole eclipse? Just the person individually, and it does collectively as all individuals come together and that makes a group. So yeah, molestation is a generational occurrence for vast majority. Yes, okay, very good. I love the fact that this stimulates conversation with you guys. I love it. I tell you, 11th house, yes. How do we tell them? Very good. I love to gossip and look at what you guys are saying. Theon, or which is a maestro, you're confused. Oh, about what? Let's see it. I might be. Very rarely I am. What about? Uh, I love my father. No man compares to him. Now remember, this is just general stuff. It doesn't mean that that's you. You know, it doesn't mean that that's you. But you guys are smarter than that, right? If it doesn't apply to you, then it doesn't apply to you. But we have to talk about it because it's one of the aspects that is attributed. So we have to talk about it. Thank you, Tina. Oh my God, Tina, I love you. So generous. Thank you so much. Thank you. Let's see. Okay, Uncle Fernando. Will Saturn return affect my birthday? Oh yeah, it'll make an aspect to your chart. If it has an aspect natally, then that aspect will repeat itself at 27. But the real aspect to Saturn is 29, 30. 27 is your lunation. The moon goes back to its original position every 27 years. Then Saturn. So it's you're going through your lunation. Sun has also on his what was it? Ali. Sun has also on his birthday on Friday. My birthday's on December 17th. Oh wow, my brother's birthday. Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, my brother's a sweetheart. I love my brother a lot. My brother Sagittarius. I have issue with my father because Chiron in my fourth house conjunct my fourth house ruler. Daddy wounding. Yes. So, Jimesh, this is something that you have to bring to a final resolve. Huh? Yeah. How does the 12th house affect your ancestor wise? They can talk to you through the 12th house, usually through mediums and psychics and astrologer. Unless you have those gifts yourself, your ancestor can come through and talk to you. I have the sun in the 12th house. You want to know what the 12th house looks like? Like this. There are candles everywhere and altars. No, it's a very spiritual, lots of flowers, lots a sanctuary, silence, burning incense, a place of meditation, very Pisces. And that's why, and you need to be still and silent so you can hear them as they give you the mysteries. Okay? Yeah, yes, I have Sun, Saturn, and Venus in the 12th house. Okay, that means to have planets in the 12th house means that you have issues concerning love and money. Venus in the 12th house. You have issues with men and father figures. Saturn in the 12th house. And what else do you have? And the Sun in the 12th house, meaning that you have had ego issues and abuse of ego issues. And you have to resolve these issues, which is why you were born with those planets in the 12th house. Oh yeah, yeah, very motivated. Guys, please donate and call for a reading or a birth chart. And thank you very much. I'm now going to begin the 25 for 25 reading in about 10 minutes until 5 o'clock. Thank you guys.